Hi and welcome back to a new episode on Tova Redmo Life Coach. This one is all about nervous system regulation. I'm Tova, I'm a life coach, I'm a special needs mum, and I'm a former project manager in the city. I'm an organizational expert, I am a mindset management coach, and I also help my clients regulate an overactive and overloaded nervous system. Before we go into today's episode, I wanted to read out a client testimonial to you, which will make a lot of sense as we go through this vlog. I worked with Tova during a time of incredible disruption and change in my life. Tova kept me centered and focused on a healthy lifestyle. She gave me the ability to recognize myself where I was going wrong. I am the type of person who you wouldn't be able to easily coach, and she did it. Tova has a great way with words that makes you feel relaxed and at ease, and some amazing breathing exercises to make you calm if you're feeling stressed. I would highly recommend Tova as a life coach. Very often when I work with my client, I bring in breathing exercises. Exercises designed to calm down your system when you're stressed out, when you're anxious, when you're just buzzing and you're not quite there in yourself. And I use these breathing exercises to help you center yourself, ground yourself, and calm yourself down, to find your way back to that ventral vagal. Yes, I'm going to talk a lot about Polyvagal Theory in this particular episode. The ventral vagal, which is your calm and connected state, the state from which you can grow, develop, produce, where you function optimally and all your body system are ticking away in the background as they should do. And the reason I do this when I work with my clients is because if you're not there, it doesn't matter what we work on. If your central nervous system is so overwhelmed and overloaded, we can talk for months, but it will not actually help you. What we need to do is teach both your body and your mind that you are safe, that you are secure, because only from that place can we make proactive change. So allow me to explain a little what I mean about all of this. Polyvagal theory. This is going to be a very brief introduction to a hugely fascinating topic that I have been studying for months on the side of my other studies and all the other things that I do, because I just love it so much and it makes so much sense to me. Polyvagal theory is a physiopsychological explanation of how our nervous system works when it comes to the very well-known fight or flight or freeze responses, and what it is that actually happens in your body. It helps to explain trauma, it helps to explain anxiety, it helps very much to explain healing from trauma and anxiety and how you get there. So it's super interesting, and I thoroughly recommend looking up Stephen Porgess, who is the man who came up with polyvagal theory back in the 90s, Deb Dana, who has taken Stephen Porgess's work and brought it into the world of therapy, and a whole host of other people. Literally Google polyvagal theory. Victoria Albina is very, very good at explaining it as well. So there's 3 names for you: Stephen Porgess, Deb Dana, Victoria Albina. So interesting. Oh, and me, Tova Redmo, talking about polyvagal theory. Your vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. You have 12 nerves that go out from your brains, the other go out from your spinal cord, is what I'm trying to say. But you have 12 that come out from your brain, and your vagus nerve is the 10th one. The word vagus means wanderer, and the vagus nerve is really long and it goes through most of your body and it connects with a lot of organs in, here. These places where you feel things. These places where you feel stress, where you feel anxiety, where you feel fear, your vagus nerve is there, and it's definitely feeling it. So in polyvagal theory, we talk about being in a ventral vagal state, in a sympathetic activated state, and in a dorsal shutdown state. Ventral vagal is your calm, connected, sociable state. And this is where you are working at your optimal. This is where you don't feel fear, you don't feel anxiety, you don't feel stress, you are resilient and you are capable of dealing with whatever comes your way. This is when you are in ventral vagal. And while you are in ventral vagal, your sympathetic system works on keeping your heart rate and your breathing in check. And your dorsal system works on keeping your digestion in check. So whilst you are in ventral vagal, these extremely important life-supporting systems of having a heartbeat and breathing and digesting food all work optimally. But when you experience something that your brain, and particularly your amygdala, see as dangerous, your sympathetic and possibly your dorsal systems will be activated. And this is how we evolved. As early humans, it was extremely important to notice danger and respond to it correctly. And in the vast majority of cases, the right response was fight or flight. You see something your brain interprets as dangerous, and your sympathetic nervous system is activated. Your heart rate goes up, your breathing becomes a little bit faster, you are pumped, you are revved, you are ready to either fight or to run away. And as you can imagine, this urge to either fight or run away was what kept you alive. Unless the danger is so severe that fighting or running are not options, in which case your dorsal system gets kicked in and you go into shutdown, into freeze. And this would be like an animal feigning death. And this is a really old part of your brain. This is what lizards do today. They are immobilized, they are frozen in place, okay? Your parasympathetic system, your ventral vagal, is the most modern part of this aspect of your brain development. This cognitive reasoning, human, big frontal lobe brain that we have now, that is the most modern part of your brain. Your sympathetic part is older, your dorsal is definitely lizard. The more we experience danger, the more we go back to earlier stages of our brain. And what this looks like to us as modern human beings, particularly the sympathetic and the dorsal parts of the vagus system, is that we are not really experiencing the kind of severely dangerous situations that we did as primitive human beings, as cave people, but our brains don't know the difference. So our brains kind of signal all the klaxons of, oh my God, you're about to be eaten by a lion. But actually what you're doing is you're reading a text message from your ex, or you're in a crowded underground train and there's just so many people around you, or you've been called into a meeting with your boss, or the school office just called, okay? These aren't necessarily that severe dangers, but your brain doesn't know the difference and your brain reacts. Now, if you have experienced a lot of these kinds of stresses in your life, your brain might be oversensitive. A call from the school office shouldn't signal danger. I'm a special needs mom. I see Ian in school on my phone. I go, oh my God, what's wrong? Because Ian could very well be in hospital when they call me after having been driven there by an ambulance. Okay, it could be that bad. It probably isn't, but it could be that bad. And my system just goes into boom, overdrive immediately. Sympathetic, fight or flight, I'm up, I'm ready. And if you have ongoing stresses for a long time, again, also very typical, a special needs parent thing. We have little ongoing stresses and traumas with our children every day. Your system is so overwhelmed, you can't deal with it anymore, and you go into dorsal shutdown. Dorsal shutdown can also happen if you are very severely depressed. You have had a depression for long enough to have worn out whatever resilience you had beforehand. These stresses, these anxiety triggers that you may have as depressed have been overloading your system, you can't do it anymore, you go into dorsal shutdown. This is where you close yourself into your room and you don't speak to people, where you can't handle going out, where you have depression naps, several naps in a day, because every little thing you do is so exhausting. Dorsal shutdown may very well include a lot of buffering behavior like binge watching TV, or simply hiding yourself away from the world completely. When you can't face people, you know you're in dorsal shutdown. Now, what I see a lot of is a sort of sliding back and forth between dorsal and sympathetic. And maybe sometimes you have a little bit of upward mobility into ventral vagal, and then you're back down again and you're sliding around between dorsal and sympathetic again. And when I talk about learning to regulate your central nervous system and healing your central nervous system, what I do mean is build up this upward mobility to get you back into ventral vagal more often, for longer periods of time, and with more ease. Okay? When you're in sympathetic or in dorsal, these automatic functions that these systems are supposed to be running, your heart rate, your breathing, your digestion, they don't run as smoothly as they should do. You may get constipated, or you may get diarrhea and IBS symptoms. You may have a lot of heart palpitations. You may feel dizzy because you're breathing so shallowly. It may very well lead to long-term health effects. I'm sure you can imagine what those are. If you are here for years, imagine what it will do to you. It affects your endocrine system, so you might have hormonal disruptions, particularly with your thyroid. You get an overactive thyroid with very severe weight loss. You get an underactive thyroid where you put on a lot of weight and you feel very lethargic. So many things happen in your body when your nervous system is dysregulated. Now, what has all of this got to do with coaching? Well, as I say, if you are sitting in sympathetic, then we might not get very far. If you're sitting in dorsal, you are probably not coming to me at all. If you're in sympathetic, you are probably coming to me because you recognize that you need help. But if you're in dorsal, maybe not so much. And let's help you get out of dorsal first of all, and let's get you back to finding your pathway back up to ventral so that you can start dealing with all of the crap that's been pushing you down in this vagus nerve ladder and is keeping you where is not optimal for you to be. And so as a coach, I use exercises designed at regulating and healing your central nervous system. Coaching is very much about you and about what you need. And the vast majority of my clients, they come to me and they sit here and talk because there are things that they need to talk through. They need to think out loud. They need somebody to ask the right kinds of questions so that they can push their thoughts into those little pathways that they couldn't quite see themselves. And as a coach, that is very much part of my job and something I'm incredibly good at. But you might not be there. And this is something I see with some of my other clients, that there's no point, because talking's not going to get us anywhere, or talking might be too much, it might be too difficult. And what we really need to do is we need to heal the nervous system. First of all, we need to find resilience. We need to find a place of safety. And so we start with breathing exercises, one of the quickest and easiest places to start. And actually, sometimes it is as easy as, let's take 3 deep breaths together. And we do this breathing, and we are both centered, and we can meet. Sometimes it takes a lot more than this. And I have longer and more involved exercises really aimed at working out where you feel safe, how you feel safe, and how you can find that safe place within yourself. And it may very well be that we work on this for several sessions before we start talking at all. And that's not a bad thing, because likelihood is that you are carrying something that is so big that I am not qualified to help you with it, because I'm not a qualified psychotherapist or a therapist or a counsellor at all. And it would be very unethical of me to pretend that I was and pretend that I could help with something that therapy is probably more suitable to help you with. But at the same time, if you are in such an overloaded central nervous system state, how is therapy going to help you unless you can find this grounding within your own body, within your own nervous system, within yourself? And therapy and coaching can work incredibly well done side by side, by the way. So using somatic coaching techniques and central nervous system regulating techniques, I help my clients build up that base of resilience, build up that base of trust within themselves and of themselves, that they are their own safe place that they can operate out of. And together we learn to find that resilience and that upward mobility back into ventral vagal. My clients don't get to a place where they stay in ventral vagal forevermore, happily ever after. Because no one does. We're not meant to spend 100% of our time in ventral vagal. The sympathetic nervous system and even the dorsal system both serve incredibly important functions for our bodies and for our central nervous systems. And we are evolved to slide between these three states. But we are also meant to find our way back to ventral vagal and spend the majority of our time up there. And so we need these techniques so that we can use them, we can pull them out of our toolbox at times of nervous system overload and help us get back there. Most of these techniques do not involve talking, they do not involve verbalizing what's going on. They actually involve feeling into your body, into yourself. Because trying to reason our way out of a stressed central nervous system doesn't really work. We need to regulate ourselves way before we start reasoning with ourselves. And that's why we use techniques that ground us in our bodies, where we use somatic techniques, somatic coaching, somatic healing, somatic is bodily, to find that regulation within ourselves. Meditation, breath work, physical contact with another person or with an animal, or even with ourselves, are extremely useful ways of regulating. Water, standing in a shower and letting your emotions being rinsed off you, extremely useful way of regulating. Or going swimming and just gliding your body through that water. Physical movement, going out for a walk in nature, again, really useful. And using your mind to build up internal pictures is something we do a lot. Internal pictures of what is safe for you, what is calm for you, connected for you, and building up those internal images, really, really good way of regulating. I feel like I've sort of lost a little bit my thread in this vlog. I didn't write anything down before because I thought, I've got this, I can talk about it. And of course I can talk about it for hours, and I probably already have. So this is a little on how to learn to regulate your central nervous system. There's so much that comes into it, and you will really learn it if you decide to work with me on these kinds of exercises. I just want to let you know that my 60% discount for being a trainee life coach is ending at the end of September. So you only have a few more weeks to book me at extremely discounted prices. Oh, look who's coming to help me co-regulate. Hello, gorgeous. And the best way of getting hold of me and finding out how we can work together is to email me on tova@parentxp.org. But you can also find me on Instagram as ParentXP and on Facebook as ParentXP. So please get in touch with me if you want to find out more and you want to book a free 20-minute discovery call And hurry up, as I say, because I'm only offering my coaching packages at a 60% discount for the rest of September 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll speak again soon. Bye.